Now that I've gone over the basics of the channel's driving force in the previous 3 parts, I'll now be going into the results and how I was able to stretch the sinews of my filmmaking abilities to their bursting point, as well as going over the events following Judy's departure from the channel. I'm here to talk about the results of that. Were they pathetic? Were they fruitful? I'd say a mix of both. 70-30, even. In 2019, Judy and I ended up breaking off our partnership for reasons I don't wish to disclose. But I will say, it's been coming for some time, and I just didn't expect the cause of said breakup.
Just for the record, the event didn't make me want to stop making skits come my 10th anniversary. That's a decision that's been on my mind since Christmas of 2018. And the reason mainly was so I could focus my efforts on animation. But this left me writing a lot of the skits that came after that. Raph also had a chance for some of his ideas to be adapted, those being Brickwright, The Gift Horse, Blizzard destroying sense of geography, and Bananas. And he helped me write Where's Horace and a few gags in Time Hopper. There are a few skits that were a little too ambitious for our budget and experience, so they were repurposed to be animations, which at the time of recording this are still in production.
Following the split up, I decided to experiment and let my imagination run wild, not just with the creative process, but also with production. And these experiments actually sort of led to the creation of Lenny Parkinson's, a character that I enjoyed playing, but it did take a lot out of me, but it was still a fun thing to do. I got to go out in public, Brandon Rogers style, and just mess about within respectable perimeters without, attacking or harassing anyone. The results of that were still mortifying. There's an art to it I have not yet mastered. I'm just glad I didn't make anyone distressed or uncomfortable, to my knowledge.
I also decided to experiment with body doubles. The first time I did that was with Fist Gun, when my mate Amos stood in as my character, when there were 2 characters played by me in the same shot and a split screen effect wasn't possible. The trick, as you guys are probably aware, is to have the body double face away from the camera, and wherever possible, dub in the dialogue so that it really adds to the effect of there being 2 of you. Raph, Patrick, Justin and Amos often stepped in as a body double for when I, playing myself or another character of mine, had to interact with another character I was playing. As long as they have roughly the same build or height, they just need the costume and whatever wig or features they have, but I don't have to go too far with the dress up since the body double's going to be kept out of focus and for the most part viewed from the back. So the face paint for Horace Wrinklesack or the facial hair for Norman or Roger is pretty much redundant.
During 2019, me, my mother and brother actually moved to a temporary house while our actual house was getting renovated, and this was actually alluded to in the 2019 special, I Have No Life and I Must Perish, and I ended up causing a lot of damage with that. I had to pay Horace some compensation. So he ended up taking everything from my house, walls and everything. Around the middle of that year, I was also attending college, all while trying to fulfill the 2019 quota of videos, which I did manage to do, and it helps that this was the first year where I decided that I was going to upload a video bi-monthly. As mentioned in the previous part of the documentary also, the first 3 videos of 2020 were actually recorded in 2019, which really got me ahead of my work and allowed me to still be productive during the circumstances of 2020, which I don't need to get into, and it also allowed me to focus on my animation studies and animation projects.
The main reason I wanted to lower the amount of videos and record things so early was, to put simply, I began to feel disillusioned with making Skitstack. I just felt bored doing it, and I've always wanted to do animations above all else. And the decision to retire the skits was pretty much solidified by the split up and the events leading up to it. I also realised that the videos were becoming more and more low quality, more than they usually were, and I felt it was the right time to end things there. Ever since late 2010, which is when I was first introduced to Eddsworld, I decided that I wanted to do animation, and I had spent nearly a decade trying to gain as much knowledge and materials as I need to get started. And as I mentioned before, I've been wanting to transition from live-action skits to animation since the end of 2018, and this was before Judy and I split. I spoke to my friend Justin about this, and he suggested uploading animations to the channel in addition to the live-action videos, so that way the change didn't seem so abrupt. So I did that, and that led to my first animation with results. Just results. I started that in the middle of 2019 and finished it on Christmas of that year. And it helps that I had the foresight to go from one video per month, for the most part, to one video bi-monthly. It gave me time to do my college work and work on my future videos. During which, I learnt the ins and outs of storyboarding and making animatics and learning how to use Toon Boom Harmony. And with that, I think it was high time I ended Skitstack. But I didn't want to end things so abruptly. I still had characters and plots that I wanted to adapt, and back then I had pre-recorded 2 videos. And I needed to find out how I could end things right, with a bang as it were.
When it came to ending Skitstack to pursue my animation aspirations, I knew the sudden change would be jarring to the viewers. I knew that if I wanted to end the live-action skits, and I sure as hell did, I shouldn't do it abruptly. I could have done it with no repercussions whatsoever with the small viewer base I have, but I wouldn't have felt good doing it. I wanted to give this era a decent send-off. The type of send-off that was grand and really wrapped things up. And that was how the final take of Time Hopper was more or less achieved. During 2019, I decided to develop the idea beyond the gags that Judy and I had pre-recorded. As during that time, the house was going to be renovated, and we wanted the continuity to at least be somewhat intact. After several rewrites and working around restrictions and potential continuity hiccups, I came up with a script where everything just fit. The clothes matched what I was wearing during these scenes and during when I was recording the original skits that the old footage came from, and the gags and events just fit. There's no better way for me to describe what I was able to achieve through the process and working around my restrictions. And I'm not saying what I made was high quality, but this is objectively the work of an amateur in every sense of the word. I'm just surprised and elated on how the final product ended up. And this leads us to 2022, which is technically when I wrapped up production of Time Hopper, a big project that was 4 or 5 years in the making before its, planned release. But we'll save that for another day. You can join me in the next and final part of this documentary where I talk about the production of Time Hopper, the 1 second from 50-minute film that helped me in ending Skitstack. Thanks for watching, guys.